So our episode this week begins in New York City, and it's where a young girl named Shaniesha Forbes was raised. Shaniesha was extremely close with her mother, Sandra Price, and she also had 3 other sisters, so it was a very fun and loud household. Shaniesha's uncle named Alton actually lived nearby with his wife and kids, and the families really did spend a lot of time together growing up. Shaniesha had actually lost her old phone, and so now she's so excited that this Christmas in 2012 she gets this new phone and now she can finally connect with her friends again. So after spending Christmas together, Shaniesha's uncle Alton is actually on duty at the NYPD on the morning of January 5th, 2013. And it's just a normal day until he receives a very distressing call on his personal cell phone. It was from Shaniesha's mother, Sandra, and she's shockingly telling Alton that she thinks Shaniesha is missing. So he tells Sandra that to be safe, they should immediately file a missing persons report. After getting the call, a detective is sent out to Sandra's home that Saturday to grab some details. So Sandra explained that she had left for work at 6:30 a.m. the day before, and on her way, she stopped and saw Shaniesha sleeping in bed. So she's leaving for work and she sees Shaniesha in her room. An hour later, she actually texts her daughter. Shaniesha immediately replied and let her mom know that yes, she's up and that she's actually on the bus on the way to school as they're texting. Later that day, Sandra Price actually got a notification from Shaniesha's school that her daughter had never actually showed up for school that Thursday. Police then asked for Shaniesha's social media account names so they can learn everything about her on those. So when police gained access to Shaniesha's Facebook page, they actually learned that she had updated her status the Thursday afternoon that she went missing. And this was obviously immediately a sigh of relief for everyone because it basically confirms that she willingly didn't go to school. But it's the update on the status that makes everyone, including her sisters, question how well they really knew Shaniesha. She had updated her status saying, going to the movies, ... with him. Smiley face. So police are trying to prioritize who they should talk to based on her social media presence, and they actually start with a young girl named Michelle. Michelle was Shaniesha's bestest friend. She tells them that Shaniesha always kept the boys she was talking to on the down low, and it was she was just very quiet about boys, and so she couldn't be sure. But she tells police that if Shaniesha does have a boyfriend, she knows of 2 names that she thinks she might have been talking to. One was named Marcus and one was named Chris. She's like, I think she's been conversing with 2 boys that have these names, but I don't even know who they are. But Michelle also tells them that Shaniesha had started her freshman year at the new riding school in September, and that by November, she was kind of having some problems at school. Shaniesha was struggling with bullies, and her main bully was actually a boy named William Harris, and police learned this from Facebook because he had been bullying her on her public timeline. Police head back to the station and decide to dig up what they can on William Harris, the main bully. But when they attempt to find his Facebook page, the one he had been using to bully Shaniesha, police discover that it had been deleted. So police decide to talk to William in person and confront him about the bullying and Shaniesha's disappearance. William tells police that he has no idea where Shaniesha is, but that he didn't hurt her. He also explains that he doesn't even really know why he posted the things he did about her, other than that he had just kind of seen other kids bullying her, and so he decided to jump on the bandwagon.
Oh my gosh.
So police ask William, okay, so you're just bullying her for fun, okay, whatever. Why did you delete your Facebook page around the same time that Shaniesha went missing? And he goes, oh no, I didn't delete my Facebook page. Facebook suspended my account because of the bullying. When police had gone to the local movie theaters and checked to see if she had ever gone, no employees remembered seeing her that day. They checked multiple theaters, nothing happened. 2 days later, Shaniesha has still not returned. A man walking his dog on Garrettson Beach had stumbled across a body of a young 14 to 15-year-old girl laying naked in the sand. But any hope of IDing this victim goes out the window when police discover that the body had been burned. It took a couple days to determine who the body was, but it eventually came back to the missing Shaniesha Forbes.
Oh my gosh.
It was determined that Shaniesha died by asphyxia, which means she was smothered or strangled. Police back at the beach decide to comb the beach for clues and noticed 20 to 25 feet away there were remnants of a bonfire. There were empty and full cans of beer laying around, and they can't help but wonder if Shaniesha had been thrown or fell into this fire. Another detective came across a receipt from a liquor store in the sand and end up getting the credit card and security camera footage from that time. They discover a single man came in and bought the exact bottle of liquor, and the card belonged to him. It was a 22-year-old pre-med student named Sheriff who lives in Brooklyn. He claims to not recognize Shaniesha. Him and his friends just came to the beach to drink that day, and that they didn't even have a bonfire. They weren't around a bonfire. Detectives decide to ask him to provide a DNA sample. So back at the station, Shaniesha's private Facebook records finally come through at this point. And so what they figure was the best way to confirm all of these identities is to use the attached phone numbers to each Facebook account that she heavily talked to. Around this time, her private phone records now come in. So they discover through going through these records that one number actually called Shaniesha 30 to 40 times a day. And they eventually match the number to a man named Christian Ferdinand, whose address says he lives right by Shaniesha. Now, if you remember, her friend Michelle said that she knew that she thought she was talking to a boy named Chris. And this guy's name is Christian. So detectives immediately head to Christian's house. On their way to the address that it was attached to the phone number literally does not exist. It was a fake address to a cell phone store. And this is when they notice a 35-minute call that Shaniesha made to an unknown number the night before she went missing. And so police trace it back to another high school student named Derek, and he was from Brooklyn as well. Derek says that he met Shaniesha online on Facebook, and they began speaking pretty regularly. They learned that this was the him from the post. But he says that Shaniesha stood him up. Police finally decide to try and triangulate the last place that her cell phone pinged. They notice that when Shaniesha sent her mom the text at 8:15 saying that she was on the bus to her school, her phone was pinging in a completely different area than her bus route. So police at this point finally receive the DMV records for Christian Ferdinand, the name, and they get an address and a picture of this guy claiming to be Christian Ferdinand from his license. And the license says that he's 20 years old, and there is now an address, a real address on this license, and discover that Christian is actually living in Maine. So they decide to trace his cell phone records as well, and they discover that his phone was pinging off the same towers Shaniesha's was the morning she went missing. And they request an interview with him, and he willingly agrees to speak with them. So they start off the interrogation, interview, saying, "Hey, do you know this girl?" And he goes, "No, I don't." When Christian was confronted with some of the evidence, he finally admits to meeting Shaniesha on Facebook. He claims in this interrogation that Shaniesha was obsessed with him. He informs police that he actually has a girlfriend who lives in Boston, and he was visiting her one day when Shaniesha texted him and told him that she was pregnant. And he's like, "Okay, if I'm going to be honest, we actually did hook up. We did meet more than once, and we had sex at least 3 times. And so that's why she thought the baby was mine."
It's obviously him that he did this.
So Christian pauses for a minute, and then he just says, "Whatever, I'm just going to tell you guys the truth." And Christian just admits to police that he eventually took a pillow off the couch and smothered Shaniesha. He says he then drove to the beach, burned her body, and used a can of men's body spray and a lighter to light her on fire. Police then went back to Shaniesha's autopsy and found no evidence of a pregnancy. In November of 2014, Christian went to trial, and the jury convicted him of second-degree murder, where he was sentenced to 19 years in life.
How is it second-degree murder?
Because it was in the moment. So first-degree murder would be premeditated. Okay, you guys, so that was the case for this week. I love it.
And I hate it.
Goodbye.